In this video, I'll show you how to attach optical slave trigger to the Instax Wide 300 camera to use it with external flashes. Some of the earliest videos that I posted on this channel are with the Instax Wide 300 camera and showing you that you can use this with external flashes. In the comments underneath the video, a lot of people are asking me how I attach the wireless trigger to the camera. So I'll go through that and also show you a couple different examples with the wireless flashes. First, I'll take a selfie with the Instax Wide 300, which is the bare flash, so we have a reference of what it looks like without any external flashes. To take a selfie, I'll use the close-up lens as well, so I'm nicely sharp. So we'll turn on the camera, attach the close-up lens, and then I'll position myself somewhere between 40 to 50 centimeters from the camera and take a picture. All right. Hopefully it didn't blink, so let's give it a few minutes so it can develop, and in the meantime I will attach the trigger to the camera. The easiest way to attach the trigger to the camera is just to use Gaff tape. Gaff tape is like duct tape, but it uses different type of glue, so when you peel it off it won't leave the glue residue. So it's kind of like a better duct tape. It costs a lot more money than duct tape, but it's definitely worth it. I think a roll like this in the States costs maybe $20. I suggest you get a good brand. I'll put some links in the description. So what I want is this photoreceptive side of the trigger to be facing the flash itself. So I want this front to touch the flash of the camera. So I'll attach the trigger like this. So I'm just gonna simply attach it with the Gaff tape. I figured out I need a lot longer piece. So let's get like a really long one. So this is my first effort. This kind of tape is sticking over and I won't be able to attach the flash. So I'll cut this with scissors so I can attach the radio trigger. Okay, so I attached the trigger. So I didn't do an amazing job, but it should work. I mean, it's pretty stable. When I jiggle it, it seems to be pretty sturdy. And I tried to tape kind of around the flash so the flashlight doesn't spill out when I don't want it. So now essentially I have an Instax Wide 300 camera that has a flash hot shoe, so I can attach the flash and I can use it just like any other camera with a hot shoe. One thing to note is that it's gonna shoot essentially manually. It will select the f/14 aperture, and the shutter speed doesn't really matter because the light is gonna come from the flash. So if it's 1/60th of a second or 1/200th of a second, it doesn't really matter. When I do test exposures on my digital camera, I set it to f/14 and 1/60th of a second. I take test exposures until I'm satisfied, and then I can take some Instax prints. So you can attach a flash to it like this. It's pretty wobbly because the flash is obviously so heavy. So I generally don't like to use it in this configuration because I have to kind of hold onto the flash as I take pictures. So instead of attaching directly a flash, I like to attach a radio trigger. So here it is with the radio trigger attached. This works pretty well because the radio trigger is really light, so I can kind of move the camera around. The only problem is that since the hot shoe is kind of oriented the other way around, the radio trigger is sticking this way and it's obscuring the film ejection slot. So it's okay. When this film comes out, I'm just gonna kind of bend it a little bit, or I can just move the radio trigger out of the way or just slide it out really quickly. In the meantime, the shot from the Instax Wide 300 without any of the external flashes is fully developed. It's looking pretty good. On the video, it looks a little bit overexposed, but it's actually a pretty good exposure. I'm very happy with this picture. I mean, that's kind of the best we can expect from this camera. To get the proper exposure with the external flashes, what I do is I take a digital camera. So here's a Canon 80D. I have a lot of Canon cameras. And then I take pictures with the settings that the Instax camera is using, and I dial the flash amount until I'm satisfied. I put the wireless trigger on the camera, so just like any other flash, you put it straight on the camera. Then I turn on the camera. I set it to ISO 800, 1/60th of a second, and f/14. Those are exactly the same settings that the Instax Wide 300 is using. And on the wireless control, I can dial the strength of the flash. So then I get my Godox TT600 flash. I just turn it on. It's already gonna be in the slave mode. First, let's do exposure with the flash off, just to see how dark it is. So here I have the camera, and I can see that I'm really, really dark. So that's good because pretty much all the light is gonna be coming from the flash. The darker it is without the flash, the better essentially. So now I'm gonna turn on the flash. On the wireless controller, it says 1/32 of a power. Now it says 1/32 of a power. And I'm gonna take the same picture, but I'll point the flash on this side of myself, something like this. And that's actually a little bit too bright. So let's do 128th of a power. Let's try that. This camera is really heavy. I should have picked something lighter like the M50. Let's take a picture. Okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll go a little bit lighter. Maybe I'll go 2/3 of the stop lighter. And I can actually go maybe a little bit more from the side like this. So let's try this with the Instax. So I'm gonna take the wireless trigger off, attach it to my Wide 300 camera. So I just tried to turn on my camera, but I taped over the turning on button So I kind of have to move it out a little bit. Okay, everything seems to be good. I still have some prints. Okay, trigger is on. Oh, I almost forgot. I gotta put on the close-up lens. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of a Frankenstein. So it has the close-up lens, has the slave trigger that has the wireless controller, and here on the other hand, I have my flash. I'm gonna hold this out as I did, like 40 to 50 centimeters away. And then I'm putting the flash from the side to kind of get a half face illuminated. And then fire. And now as it's ejecting, oops. Oh, well, it wasn't great. I mean, it kind of squeezed through, so it was okay. Now I'll wait for it to develop and then see if I can want to try any other ideas. So here are the results. So here's the control, and this is with the external flash. I think it's great. The exposure is right on. I wouldn't change it at all. Here I see some defects from the development. That's because the print got kind of twisted as it was ejecting. I actually kind of like it. It adds to the mystique of the picture. Overall, I'm super happy. It's definitely not a picture for everybody, but I like the artistic nature of it. I also see some banding throughout the picture. It might be due to the screwed up ejection, but maybe those will disappear over time as the picture develops a little bit further. So let's try one more example. I'm gonna do a very similar setup. I'm gonna hold the camera in front of me to take a selfie, but instead of the flash coming from the side, I'm gonna try to do something like a spooky either from the bottom or from the top. I think when I do the top, I have the arm in there, so maybe I'll just do it from the bottom. So let's turn on the camera. I'm holding it 40 to 50 centimeters away from me, right there. And I'm gonna put the flash underneath of me like that. So what happened? The flash didn't fire because I accidentally turned it off, I guess to conserve battery. So let's try this again. So I just wasted a shot. You'll be able to see on the shot without the flash on how dark it is without flash. Here's the picture that was taken without the external flash that's developing. You can see the bands in there. That might be from the fact that the pictures are getting bent as they're ejecting. So let's try this one more time. I'll try to bend the other side of the picture as well to kind of mess up the development to give it a more artistic flair. If you're taking pictures of somebody else with this external flash setup, it'll be a lot easier. And that's probably what most people are gonna be doing. I think doing this with selfies is a little bit too hard. So as you take a picture, you can quickly slide off the flash trigger away, and then the picture will eject normally without any interference. So if you don't want any of the development marks on your prints, you can easily accomplish that. It's just when you're trying to take videos and the selfies and do it all together, it's a little bit too hard to get it done without any of the developmental marks. All right, the last picture is super funny. I clearly had the flash way too close in the last picture. This is what it looks like when you had the flash way too bright. So I guess the learning from this picture is that every time you change the position on your flash and your camera, you should do a test shot with your digital camera to make sure you have the exposure perfectly dialed in. And once you feel comfortable that the exposure looks good on your digital camera, then you can try to take some pictures with the Instax. I just wanted to do it quickly, but it's kind of fun to get these crazy mistakes as well. It actually looks really spooky. You can see that in the super bright areas, it actually turns black again. I think that's called solarization. It's a fun little mistake. I hope this video is useful. I have a ton of other Instax videos online, so check them out. And if you think it's something you're interested in long term, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. See you next time.